Hey, Adam and Lincoln Auger here. Today we have the 7 biggest 1-foot jumping mistakes. This is my personal opinion of what the 7 biggest mistakes are. I've broken it down into 3 categories. We have early approach, middle approach, and then takeoff. With the early approach, our 2 biggest mistakes that are made: sporadic speed, number 1, which what I mean by that is you take off fast, then you slow down, then you accelerate, or there's no acceleration, there's no gradual acceleration, meaning once you take 1 step on your approach, no step after that first step is going to be slower than the one previous to it. It's a complete acceleration all the way through to your jump. Next, stutter steps. I see this all the time with early athletes. They go to get ready to take off and they start stutter stepping. If you're stutter stepping, you are messing up big time. Your steps are, it means you're not comfortable. You need to continually attempt and keep working on your approach until you're comfortable. And what I tell my basketball players too about stutter steps is the more you work on getting your steps down, the more it comes naturally, and the more likely in game-like situations, stuff like stutter steps won't happen if you're going to the rim. You will find your steps quicker. And this is huge for basketball, obviously. If you're not stutter stepping, you're getting to the basket much, much faster and more efficient. Next, we have middle approach. The 2 biggest mistakes I see in middle approach: deceleration. Okay, we talked in our early approach how you never slow down. This is usually the problem area, is this middle approach. That's where our deceleration comes in, okay, 100%. That's where we finally get up to a comfortable speed. Then we might go a little faster than we want, and we're like, oh shit, I need to slow down, okay? Do not decelerate at all. Next is dorsiflexion. All right, I have an old shoe here that I found. With dorsiflexion, when you run, it needs to look like this, a cycle. Young athletes run, it's more like that, okay? You want to lock your ankle, so if your foot's dangling right now, dangle it up off the computer chair. I want you to pull your toes towards your shin. That's going to give you the most impact right there on the balls of your feet, okay? So none of that foot slapping, heel toe. You'll hear it when kids run. You hear, no, it needs to be complete contact from the ball of that foot in a dorsiflex position. Okay, if you have any more questions, I do have other videos available about that, but also just ask below. If that dorsiflexion is a very confusing subject, so don't get confused with plantar flexion. You want to be dorsiflex when you're working out and running and playing basketball or whatever sport you're playing. Always want to be dorsiflex. That's going to help out with ankles too. If you're a basketball player, think of it. If you jump up for a rebound and you come down like this, which a lot of us do, if someone's foot rolls underneath, you're going to sprain that ankle. But I tell you what, if you come down like this, it's a much, much more stable position on the bottom of that shoe to land, and you're less likely to roll an ankle that way. Third, takeoff. Drop hips. I see this all the time. When athletes go in there, they have a great approach, and then they go to take off, and they get real low and try to power up like they're a spring. Listen, you're not a spring. We need to stay tall, okay? Stay tall on our hips and elevate. So when we go to take off, our hips are high and not low. Next, chest drop. And that chest drop usually comes from dropping your hips. When you drop your hips, your chest tends to fall forward. You want to keep that chest where you want to go. You want to keep it high. So you're here and not here. If your chest is ever pointing at the ground at takeoff, you will jump forward, not up. Make sure that that's not happening. Next, speed loss. Again, we see it here and we see it here. Do not slow down at takeoff. Takeoff, it tends to be that one area that every athlete, great approach, and then all of a sudden you can hear it. You can hear the last 2 steps. I don't know if that's going to stay. So if you hear the last 2 steps, it sounds like this. That's too slow. What we want is your last 2 steps need to be your fastest. They need to be your fastest steps, your last 2 steps. So it needs to sound like, and not. So let's go ahead and check out a video that's going to help you with that. It's a dorsiflexion drill. And yeah, let's check it out.
I'm not pushing down.